Hi all, welcome to another session on employee churn analysis. In this video session, you will learn how to code in Jupyter for making a model for the analysis purpose. Let's take a new Jupyter notebook. I have created a new file employee_churn_analysis. So first we have to import all libraries which we need to do this program. First, import all the libraries you want, run it. Once that is done, you have to prepare your data, right? So before starting my exact coding, I am going to give a comment on this one. So I am going to get my data prepared for my program. Just run it. So here I have to give the read_csv method to read the data. So once that is read, the next step is you have to read the data set. You have to see whether your data is loaded correctly or not. For that, just use data.head and data.tail. Head will retrieve the first 5 records and tail will retrieve the last 5 records. So it will give you an overall idea of how many records are there in your data set, and how many columns or what are the columns that is there in that data set. That all you can get it from this tail and head method. In order to know the number of columns as well as its data type, you can make use of the info method. Now you can see here you are having 10 columns and they are float, integer and object type. There is no null value in your data set. Summary on the number of columns as well as the data type of the columns. And in order to get a statistical summary of your data set, you can use describe method. Then it will give the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum value, maximum and the quantile value of the data. Now let's have some visualization. We are going to plot a bar graph using matplotlib. This is to show the discrete variable counts of left attribute. Run it. Here you can see the number of employees as well as the employees left company. And if you want to know the exact count, you can make use of value counts for that particular attribute. Just run it. You can see the value of 0 in left attribute is 11,428 and the value 1 is 3,571. So there are 3,571 records for those whose left attribute value is equal to 1. That means 3,571 people left. Like that, if you want, you can have the plot for the other attributes as well. For example, I am taking number of projects. Just run it. Here I can see the number of projects, the values 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and these are the number of employees. So almost 2,500 employees have the number of projects as 2. That is the inference we are getting from this plot. This is a part of data analysis with the help of visualization. Here I am going to have a more clear visualization with the people left and the people who are remaining in that company. See, now you can see the employees, number of employees, it's number of projects and the Y label you can see count. So this orange means is the people who left and 0 means they are still there in the company. So from this plot we can easily identify for this number of projects 2, almost near to 1,000 people have not left the company, but almost near to 2000 people, they left the company. And the people who got 4 projects, most of the people remain in the company, but a few left the company. Like that, it's easy to get the inference with this code. So it's easy to get such information at once using this. And next one is, you have observed that there are some object variables in our data set. So we have to convert all the categorical values to numerical values before modeling. It's the best method. So for that, I am making use of the getDummies method in Pandas library. Just execute it and just see the different columns now in our data set. See, there are some dummy attributes in our data set with the numerical values like 0 or 1. So now you are sure that your data set contains only numerical values, right? It's only unsigned integer numbers, and there is no more null values. So now your data is ready. You can go for splitting this data set into target variables and feature set. So this feature set contains the features that helps us to reach at a target variable or our output. So here our features are like the departments, then the salary, the number of projects, etc. And our target variable is left. So you have to split that into feature set as well as the target set. Just execute this one. Now you drop that left attribute from the data set and save that to X variable and store our target variable value to Y. Now you have to split your data set into train and test data set. For that, you have to make use of sklearn.model_selection, and from that you have to import train test split method for splitting your data set. Inside this train test split method, you have to provide your feature set, the target set, as well as the test size, then the random state. The test size means you are taking 75% of the data set for training and 25% for testing. The random state is a seed point to make sure that every time we are taking the similar data set for training as well as for testing. You can just take a glance at the shape of this. You can see there are 11,249 records for training and 3,750 records for testing. Now you can apply different algorithms for making the models. The first one I am going to try is logistic regression. For using logistic regression, you have to import the logistic regression module from this sklearn.linear_model. Then you can fit the logistic regression model to the training data set. Once the model learns the fact, you can make use of that model for predicting the target value based on the X test. Using Y test and Y predict value, you calculate the accuracy score. Okay, it's coming to 0.7872. That is 78% accuracy rate is there. If I want, I can go for fine tuning. That is, I am going to give a class weight. I am going to tell that only a class weight of this range should be taken. Okay, So I am taking 0 colon 0.73 and 1 colon 1. The ones that class weight is specified, you can see the accuracy is changed to 79.73%. That means it's improved, right? So this is what I told you, that hyperparameter tuning. You are giving some other values for the attributes. You can also have a look at precision score, recall score, F1 score. You can also calculate the precision, recall and F1 score. Precision is about being precise, that is how precise your model is. In other words, you can say when a model makes a prediction, how often it is correct. Okay, in this case, when your model predicted an employee is going to leave, that employee actually left 64% of the time. Recall is if there is an employee who left present in the test set and your model can identify it 47% of the time. There is one more term, that is F1 score. It's actually a weighted average of precision and recall. This score takes both false positive and false negative into account. Here the F1 score is 54% only. Next one is decision tree. I am trying with some other algorithm so that to check whether my model accuracy will be improved. So to make use of decision tree algorithm, you just import decision tree classifier and the rest is same. You have to fit the model, then you calculate the Y prediction value for the feature set of the test data set. Once that is calculated, you can calculate your Y prediction value against your Y test value, and you can calculate the accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, and this can be obtained from this confusion matrix that will give you an overall view of all these metric values. The next one is random forest. For implementing the random forest, you can just make use of random forest classifier. The same here also, you can fit it and you can predict the Y value based on the X test value. Here also you just calculate the accuracy, precision, F1 score and everything with the help of the Y test and Y pred value. And here you can see the accuracy is almost 99%. The next one is KNN, and this KNN stands for K nearest neighbor, and for implementing that algorithm you have to make use of K neighbors classifier. So first you have to select the number of neighbors for which the accuracy value will be high, and that is what you have seen here. Okay, for the in the graph, in the plot, you can see for the K value 1 giving the highest value. So I have to model it with n neighbors equal to 1, and this is the metric Minkowski, that is the distancing technique I am using for getting the neighbors of that data point. And here also you can calculate the accuracy, precision and recall and F1 score. It's coming to 95% for my KNN. The next algorithm I am going to try is support vector machine, and here I am going to use SVC. Okay, and different kernels can be used for support vector machine, linear, RBF, and this RBF we are using mostly when your data points are having a non-linear fashion. So by using this RBF, I am getting an accuracy of 0.75%, and based on this you can also see the confusion matrix as well. Confusion matrix is a table that is often used to describe the performance of a classifier. You can see a table like structure here. Okay, the first value, that is the value for true positive, and 0 means that's the value for false negative, and 904 is the value for false positive, and 56 is the value for true negative. True positive means observation as well as the predicted value is positive. False negative means that is the observation is positive but the predicted value is negative. True negative means that the observation is negative and the predicted value is also negative. Whereas false positive means observation is negative but predicted value is positive. So accuracy is actually the ratio of true values to the entire value. So these two value 2790 and 56. These two values will contribute the accuracy value. You have seen that we are using different models, and for those model which is giving me the highest accuracy rate, I will select that model and deploy that model. For logistic regression, my accuracy score is 78.7, and when I tuned it, I got 79.7%. For decision tree, it's 99.09% accuracy is there. For random 4, it's the same. For KNN, it's 0.95, which is below 99, right? And for SVM, it is only 0.75. So out of this, I can go with either random forest or decision tree, and you can make hypertuning on that to select the most favorable model for this data set. I have shown you how you can do the hypertuning in one algorithm, that is logistic regression. You can opt this hypertuning technique for other algorithms as well and see whether your model accuracy will be changed according to that. You can practice it by yourself. So that's all about building a model with the help of supervised learning algorithms. So different steps are like this. First, you have to import the data to your workspace. Then you have to analyze the data, check whether there is any categorical data or not. And if you want any pre-processing, do that. Then once that is done, you just split your data into feature set as well as the target set. And then you have to split your data into training and test data set. Use this train data set for training the model with the help of the algorithm, and use that test data set to test that model and check the accuracy of each model, and select the model which is having the highest accuracy rate. But it depends on the situation whether you have to give importance to accuracy or recall or F1 score. So that's all for this session. Thanks for watching the video. Happy learning.